Hi, I'm Margaret Lewin and welcome to Margaret Lewin Quilting. Today we're going to be starting our bag, and this bag is designed by Annie and it's called Running with Scissors. And this is one of those bags that have been sitting around in here forever that I've wanted to make and just haven't gotten a chance to. So today we're going to get it started. I anticipate that it's going to be an entire 3 episodes to get it done. Normally Annie's bags do take me 3 videos to get it done. So I want you to see what I've got put together here. I've got my scissors and my rotary cutter, my machine started. I've got all my different pockets and my case body and my A and B pockets. I've got my mesh. I had enough mesh from my last project video, which was take a stand. So if you haven't seen take a stand yet, take a look below in the show notes and I'll put a link to that video. So if you want to go see take a stand, you can. Alright, I've also got all of my cloth pieces and I've got my fabric that I need to make my binding out of. I have not made my binding yet. I'll make that down the road. I usually wait to do that. And then I've got my zippers. So the very first thing I'm going to do is pull out my instructions and see what we need to do first, and then we'll get going. So I've got my 40-inch and I've got my 2 30-inch ones, and I'm going to read on and figure out what it is that we need to do. For the outside of the bag, which is the 40-inch zipper, Annie tells us that we only need 1 slide. I honestly think I'm going to keep 2 slides on mine, because I think I want to be able to open it like this. There's just something about that that feels right to me. So I'm going to actually leave my second zipper on mine. The 2 30-inch zippers are going to make all 4 of what we need for inside the bag. All the different sections that it is that we need. So in order to prepare these, I'm going to show you what we're going to do. Alright, so I've got my zippers. I've got all 3 of them. I've gone ahead and I've prepared one of my 30-inch. And what this pin is telling me is that I need to sew right across there to stabilize these so that my zipper heads pulls don't come off. I need to take 1 zipper pull off the 40-inch zippers. So I've got all my stuff put together of what it is that I need. One of my 30-inch zippers I've indicated right here where I need to stitch so that these are locked in place. I've got my 40-inch zipper. Now in Annie's pattern, what she's going to have you do is take this zipper, take one of the zipper pulls off and put it on one of your 30-inch zippers. Well, I actually have extra pulls. So on this 40-inch zipper, I'm going to leave that one be, and I'm actually going to take one of the zippers that I have that's all made up. I use these zippers, I use Annie zippers quite a bit, so consequently I do buy my zippers many times by the yard. It's more economical to do it, number 1, and number 2, then I always have them on hand. So I'm going to take this 30-inch zipper and I'm going to set this one aside because I do not need this one. So this one will go right back into my stash, and I will grab this part of my zipper. Now according to Annie's instructions, we need a double one and we need a single one. So I'm just going to take all of these. I need a double and I need a single. So here's my single. And that one needs to be at least 15 inches. All right, so I'm going to push that one back. I'm going to push all these zipper pulls back. And I'm going to measure 15 inches at least, at least. So I've actually given myself 16 inches. I'm going to take my utility scissors and I'm just going to cut. Now because these are nylon, I don't have any problem at all in cutting them. I am going to stick a temporary pin in here so that I don't lose my zipper tab, my zipper pull off of it. And then I'm going to take and measure this one, and on this one we're just over 15. So what I actually can do, because I just need 2 pulls, is I'm just going to take all these extra zippers right off, and I'll put these right into my stash. So now I have all these extra zipper pulls. And I'll put those into my box with my gray ones. Now on this one, getting a zipper pull back on this end isn't hard. This end is the more trickier end. So I'm going to stick a pin in there so that I know I need to stitch that off. Right? I'm going to go over, I'm going to do my stitching, and then I will come right back. All right, my zippers are ready. This is my 40-inch zipper, which Annie said we only needed one zipper pull. I want to put two on it because I want to be able to zip it closed in the center, open it all the way. So that's the reason why I've chosen to do two. You do not need two though, just so that you know, it's not necessary. I have taken one of my 30-inch, and you can see I've sewn across it right here and here. I'm just going to cut in between that. So now I have two 15-inch zippers. Then my second set of 15-inch zippers, I've closed that end off. One of them is to have two zipper pulls. The other one is to have a single zipper pull. Now I have stuck a pin in here at the end because I really, in making the bag, I don't want to have to fight with the zipper pull. So I'm going to leave that there. So our zippers are completely done. I'm going to take all of my extra pieces, which are right here, and I'm going to set these aside because I don't need them right now, and I want to keep them out of my way. So the very first thing I do need to do is I need to take a piece of interfacing and I need to attach it to my center facing. And you'll find that in your instructions. Now read your instructions from the manufacturer that you get your interfacing from. If you buy a kit from me, what your interfacing is going to be is there's going to be little small dots on one side that goes right down to the back of your fabric, and you can see my piece is a little bit too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my big ruler and I'm just going to cut it back on one side. And the reason I'm doing this is because I really don't want this all over my iron. I would much rather keep my iron in good condition than have it all messed up with gunk from interfacing. So I'm going to just take 1/4 of an inch off of one side and then 1/4 of an inch off of an end. And what that, well, actually I'm going to take 1/2 inch off the end because mine was a little extra big. What that will do when I place it on top of my fabric is now, if I lay my fabric down for you, there's my piece, bumpy side down. Now, if you can see, what happens is the interfacing is actually just a little bit smaller than my piece of fabric, so that'll work out perfect. I'm going to go fuse that down and then we go on. I have prepared my elastic with the folding elastic that's in your kits. If you bought a kit from me, there's a piece of a big roll of elastic and it looks like this. Okay, one side of it's really shiny and the other side is just dull. You can use either side, that's up to you. So what we're going to do next is we're going to open this back up again. I folded it and pressed it per the directions. All right, I'm going to open this up and I'm going to lay it just like this. I'm going to grab a whole bunch of my Wonder Clips, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my elastic right over my lines that I've created. So I'm going to put one piece here, and I want the shiny side up. And like I said, you may do either or. That's absolutely up to you. So I'm just going to get these Wonder Clips on here. And don't worry that there's a different size there. By the time we get it all done, it's just going to lay flat. But I do need to bring this in a little bit so that it is even with the edge. I'm going to do that on all of my marked lines, And then what I'm going to do is take these over to the sewing machine. I'm going to sew an 1/8 right straight down both of these edges. Then I'll come on back. All right, I have sewn my piece down. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold this over. I'm going to put a clip at the end. I've got these extra large Wonder clips, and they work really great for things like this. So I'm just going to clip there, turn it around, and I'm going to clip here. And now I'm going to set this piece aside. See how nice it lays once you've got it folded again? Really does a nice job. I'm going to now set this aside for later. I'm going to start working with my handles. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this piece, I'm going to put it right sides together. I'm going to put a few Wonder clips in there, just a couple. Then I'm going to take it over to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew it right sides together. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press it with my seams open. Then once I've gotten it pressed with my seams open, then I'm going to turn it right side out, and I'm going to put my webbing inside of it as a stabilizer for my handle. I'll come back and show you a couple of the steps though. Alright, I have sewn this, and then what I did was I just laid it down on my pressing and I moved it so that my seam was right in the center and just pressed it open. So now I'm going to take my easy point turner. I've done that, so now I'm going to take and put the end of my fabric into my easy point turner, or easy point and turner I should say. I'm going to open this up, and you can see right here there's a solid piece, while on this side there's an opening. So I'm going to take and just kind of loop that over and then close those together. The biggest thing is on this, you need to keep a consistent hold on the handles. So once you get it started, it goes really fast, but you need to remember to keep a hold of this end with your hand. Otherwise what happens is the fabric comes out, then you've got to open it up again and put it back through again. So just make sure that you hold tight to it while you put it on. And then while you transfer your fabric from one side of your turner to your other. And it really goes quite easily. Kind of saves your fingers a little bit too. So here we go. You can see my piece there. So now I'm just going to take it off. And I'm just going to put it the rest of the way down. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back in there again. Okay, I've got it in. Straighten that out. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to insert my webbing. Alright, I'm going to again pinch it good and tight with my hands so that it stays connected. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of line it up the way I had my fabric pressed, and I'm just going to wiggle it in there. And again, starting, it's the hardest part, and that's not hard, it's just finicky. So I'm just going to push this down through. Okay, I'm going to turn it so that it's over the top of it, because that I do find tends to work a little bit better. And there you go. Lickety split, I'm almost done. So I'm just going to keep pulling and taking this over the end, and here we go. So that is almost it. I can see it. There it is. Alright, I'm going to open it up and just remove this. Then I can very easily just pull this out, come to the back, and just manipulate it a little bit so that the seam lines up in the center. So there's my very first handle. Just going to get this extra fabric that's folded over out flat. And once I've done that, then I just need to go over to my sewing machine and start top stitching. I will be using my 10D foot. I have a Bernina 790 plus, and I love my edge foot, which is the 10D. So I'll be using that to stitch this down. I am going to take it over to the ironing board and just press it once good. I'll be back and show you what it looks like stitched down. I have made my strap. So now I'm going to add that to this pile, which I know I'm completely done with for a little while. The next thing I did was I had interfaced my front piece of fabric that goes on one of my 2 pockets. So I've marked my line, I've put that down. So now I'm going to sew right across here per my instructions. Then I'll come back and this will get folded up. So I'll be back as soon as I've done that. Alright, I've sewn this on and I've pressed it over, so this is all ready to go. The next thing I need to do is one of my zippers. So the first thing I'm going to do is take one zipper and just place it on here and clip it with my Wonder Clips. I'm going to extend my zipper all the way off the end because I want to be able to sew this flat. Alright, so I'll take this over to the machine and I'm going to sew this. Then the next thing I'm going to do, well, I'll do them at the same time. I'm going to take my second zipper, I'll open that all the way, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to place it right here, and I'm going to sew this one at the same time that I sew this one. Alright, so I'll come back when I've sewn both of these because I'm going to give you a little hint as to what I do to keep my insides really nice and pretty and clean. I have sewn my zipper on. What I'm going to do next is I'm just going to take my scissors, I'm going to go right along here, and I'm just going to clip this excess off. And the reason why I do that is because when I go to do the next step, which I'll show you in just a second, what happens is I can take my zipper and just fold it over like this. Then I can very nicely and easily top stitch right along there to give me a really nice finished look on both sides. So this is the one I've already done. And if you see it on this side, then I flip it over. See how nice that looks on the inside? It's all nice and finished off. There's no raw edges. There's no nothing. Now, Annie does tell you to fold this over and to stitch it down. But I am going to suggest that you just clip that little bit away. And here's that little piece. And then stitch it down. I think it does make a big difference. Right now that both of my pockets, my pocket A and pocket B, are all done, I need to create the binding that's going to be attached here. Here's the second one. So to create the binding, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this in half, then I'm going to take my 2 sides, bring them in to meet at the half, and then fold them like this again. So I'll get my binding made and attach them to both of these, and then we will see what our next step is. I'll show you how I went about doing this. This is what they looked like. Let me see. Get it out, back open again. This is what they looked like. They were just 2 strips. I folded it in half, then folded the 2 centers, the 2 edges into the center, and then I pressed it again. Now I will tell you, I did use Mary Ellen's Best Press on it. I do believe it does help. And then what I'm going to do is just run this right over the edge like this. I'll put a couple of Wonder Clips in there, and then I will take it over to my sewing machine and sew it. Let me adjust this just a little bit. So there we go. So I'll get it down nice, and then I will take it over and I'll get it sewn on both of them. And then that's going to be it for today. So what we're going to start off with next time is we're going to start off with working with our mesh and preparing those, which will include adding binding to that and adding zippers and all that kinds of stuff. So I'm going to get these stitched, and I'll see you back here for part 2 of our running with scissors bag, and at that time we'll get working on our mesh pockets. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave a comment below, and I hope to see you back here again really soon for part 2 of Running with Scissors by Annie.